Hey everybody, just wanted to take a few seconds of your time before the podcast starts. Just wanted to let you know about a passion project of mine for the last 3 years called Hustle Focused Energy. It's a powdered drink mix intended to help you focus and accomplish your goals. Super excited to bring this to market. Go check it out, hustletheday.com. And thank you so much for listening. On this episode of the Hustle the Day podcast, I have Clayton Ensminger. Clayton is the founder of EKnives. He talks about his journey going from a full-time job with a side hustle to taking that side hustle full-time to now taking his wife full-time in this job. Super cool story. We really hit it off. Check it out. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hustle the Day podcast. My name is Trent. Super excited to have Clayton Ensminger on the show today. Clayton and I hit it off so well, I didn't do the normal intro. So here's the intro. We're just going to jump right into it where Clayton tells his story.
I'm a massive introvert, so I went through a lot of ups and downs and was working a dead-end 9-to-5 job and decided to start a side hustle. And I knew there was a way to make money online. I just had to figure out how to do it. And for an introvert, that was the perfect thing for me because I hated anything social. I was shying away from it all the time. So it was like, hey, I can do something on the computer. I know I can. So I just started messing around, lost a ton of money, did some internet marketing. Like you, I listened to your first podcast. I started doing viewing source code, learning HTML, and just started building free WordPress websites around niche. Like back then you could do Google advertising and get, you can make some money off AdWords and stuff. It's a lot different now, but I just started doing that, lost a ton of money. Like you, got comfortable all the time, just getting that comfort zone. And when you have a full-time job and you're doing a side gig, it's like, oh, it's okay. I'll take a day off here, take a day off there. And I got relaxed and it just went nowhere quick. And I finally decided e-commerce was something tangible that I could ship a product and I could earn one customer at a time. And so that's what I did. And now 6 years, going on 7 years later, we're multi-7-figure business now.
Wow.
All through solopreneur, basically. I mean, it's been a crazy journey. And this year is my first year not doing my main job. So I left my main job to do this side hustle full time. And then next week, my wife is turning in her notice. My wife has a great job in the medical field, and she's turning in her notice to do this full time with me. So it's been crazy.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
so
been,
cool. Yeah.
We're super grateful. It's been awesome, but it's been a journey, but we're just getting started. So I can't wait.
Well, that's so cool that you've got a lot of those parallels, and it hopefully tells me I'm on the right path now. I mean,
No,
I can get a little too comfortable too, because my main source of income is I flip houses.
Yeah.
Out here in Salt Lake City, and then I've got this Hustle Energy brand that is the thing I'm more passionate about, and I shouldn't be surprised because everything hobby-wise just has so many levels to it. But I checked out your website and I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, oh man, there's some high-end stuff on here. Like,
yeah, it's so funny, man. When I first started doing this, friends and even now, I mean, I don't think my family realized till this year, like they knew I had a side gig and all that. But I think they were like, he's just playing, he's just messing around. They were thinking little $30, $40 pocket knives. And it's like, people spend crazy money on this. It's like guns, man. They collect them, it's just like a hobby, and it's crazy. They spend a ton of money on it. I never would have thought.
How did the passion for knives come along, and then you dive into it and realize how big it is, or like, how did that process come about?
Yeah. So that's the funny part. It wasn't a passion. When I started, I was trying to find something that I could sell online that was relatively small and easy to ship. And I came across a domain that was actually EKnives store at the time that somebody had started, but they hadn't finished. And so I went online, started at that time I was doing some SEO. So I went on and tried to, kind of see what kind of terms I could rank for and if I could make any money at it. And there was one knife brand and type that I could make money on. And so I went all in on that one model and started selling that one. After I built the website out, I started selling it, and it just, I think passion is something you develop. It's kind of like a fire. You start it with just a little bit of kindling, and then, you see if you like it. And if you like it, you just keep going. And that's what I did. I started with this one model, started going to knife shows, trade shows, just inserted myself into this whole genre. And I went from one model to another and just kept going on and building one customer at a time. And it developed this passion that I'm just all into now. But I don't think that it's something that you have, a lot of people say you have to have passion for something before you go after it. I don't think you have to have you have to try a bunch of different things. You got to see what you like. And if you start something, don't like it, move on to the next thing. But it's just, I think you can develop a passion for anything if you dive into it all in, and go after it.
Yeah, that is awesome. No, I completely agree with you. It is preached a lot about having that passion, but that is something you can definitely develop, because I don't know enough about knives to be passionate about it, but if I dove into it, I probably would. Would think of, all the different edges that you can have, the different materials and different styles and things like that. I personally like to customize things. And so with knives, I could see that being very customizable.
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy. There's so many things you can do with it. There's so many different, like you said, blade styles, finishes. Like, it's like anything else. You can, it's unlimited what you can do with it. And yeah, once you dive into it, it's limitless what you can accomplish with it. So yeah, it's been cool. It's been fun. And it branches out into other things too. Now we started off with knives, and now we're doing all kinds of, EDC gear, everyday carry gear. We're doing keychain. We sell a lot of different things. And we just actually, I'm in our new storefront now. We're not even completely moved in yet, but we've opened a store. So we're going to be able to carry more things. I did this all out of my spare bedroom before, so I was kind of limited as to how much stuff I could keep. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Speaking from someone who has boxes like underneath their desk right now, and like boxes hidden over there, like underneath my shipping table, which is an old desk. Like, yeah,
bro, you're speaking my language. I mean, my shipping table was a card table. I have like boxes shoved everywhere. Yeah. I'm right there with you.
So at what point did you decide, I'm going all in on this? And when did it stop becoming a hobby? And when was it like, okay, this is a real business. I need to get out of the job I'm working on?
Yeah. So I actually realized it about 3 years ago. We had a really good year. And I started to realize, I'm like, I really think this is something I could do. But to be honest, Trent, man, I was scared to death. Like, it's funny. I had a full-time job and my wife had a great job. So it was like, we were comfortable. Like, we were super comfortable. Didn't have to worry about anything. But I realized that I needed to get away from the job I was doing and do this full-time, or I was never going to be able to take it to the next level. Well, I got hit with a huge tax bill that year, huge. And it scared me to death. So at that point I backed off, I backed off. And I had a habit of doing that all my life. Like, if I got hit in the face, like Mike Tyson, you get punched in the mouth and then you see what's up. I was just like, oh no, maybe this is not the right thing to do. And my mindset was not there. So I kind of went back and forth the next year. And then finally last year, I got into personal development really hard. I found Andy and Ed, and a good knife maker friend of mine. It was October of last year, turned me on to them. And he's like, have you ever listened to the MFCEO project? And I'm like, no, I don't even know what a podcast is, man. I've never even listened to one. He's like, just try it. I think you'll like it. And so I tried it, and life has been different ever since. It's just been crazy. So I've learned a lot of lessons in the last year, but the biggest one is take massive action. I mean, have to take massive action. I got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, which is what I've done over the last year. And I know that with my wife leaving her job, we can take this. The sky's the limit for where we can go with it. And it's that's what we're doing. So that's the plan.
That's awesome. I love the story, and I'm starting to think like we're actually the same person, because just the other day I got a notice from the IRS. So fortunately, it's something that should be taken care of through my accountant, so I shouldn't have to pay that. But one of those things where it was like, okay, this sucks, but this should go towards product and building the business and whatnot. But
absolutely.
Well, that's awesome that you've got your wife, going to be more involved in this now. An exciting, uncomfortable thing, but it's also, something like you said. If she can go all in on it with you, the sky's the limit on it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and we know we're holding this back. I mean, we need to be working on our business, not in it. And that's what I've realized over the last year. It's like, even leaving my 9-to-5 job, I'm spending all this time shipping, and I'm grateful because we have the business, but it's like, I can't focus on the other things. And so I'm literally doing everything, and she's helping when she has time, but she has a full-time job. So it's like, but once we can both be on this together, and then we can hire people and we'll have systems in place, we can take this much further. But we both realize that there's just no way we're holding ourselves back by not being all in. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's not going to cut it. We got to be all in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I feel like not only do I feel like we're the same person, I feel like you're speaking to me of, needing to take that massive action and really be all in on this. And, I keep going back and forth on, okay, do I expand the house flipping, or do I work on hustle energy? And I go back and forth on it, and I kind of have toes in both. And it's like, all right, need to step all in, take that massive action, and move things forward, because that's the only way things are really going to move forward.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's like, when you teeter back and forth, I've heard you say it before, and it's so true. You get in this comfort zone where you just want to stay comfortable, and everybody wants to be comfortable, but it's like the growth happens when you get uncomfortable. Like, you have to take these chances, and we realize that. And, a year ago, I would have told you, no way. Like, I don't know that I can do that. But now it's just this last year, we both completed 75 hard, which I'm sure you've heard of. And it's like, it just changes you. Like, it gives you this confidence. I had such little self-confidence and self-esteem. I mean, I was horrible in public, man. I was the guy that if you set me in a room of people, man, I was in the corner, and it's like, now my wife laughs because, like, we'll be out somewhere, and usually she's an extrovert, so she doesn't meet a stranger. I'm the one taking over conversations. Sometimes she's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, I'm this guy that just didn't believe all these years, and now it's like, no, I mean, I believe 100%. Like, I know there's no end to what we can do here. It's just you got taking the action and winning the day. I think that's one thing. It's so easy to look, a year down the road, 2 years down the road, even a few months, and you can get overwhelmed with thoughts of negativity, and it's like, just get what you want to get done one day at a time. And I started doing that. I started this year writing, I started journaling and writing down. I wrote my goals down, and I wrote down my tasks for that day, and I would check them off at night. And it's like, I've seen the needle move so much further this year than ever because of that. I mean, it's just, and I try not to go to bed at night without having all those tasks done. Now I slip up, everybody slips up some, but it's, for the most part, I mean, I get those tasks done every single day, and it's like, I don't know. It's just huge. It's a game changer. It really is.
Yeah. Now you're sure we're not the same person, right? Because
I feel like, I feel like we need to hang out at some point. And Utah is a favorite place of mine because I'm a snowboarder. So we need to make that happen.
Well, you got a place to stay here. Yeah, no, I used to be introverted. I did 75 hard, gained a lot of confidence from it. It's had my wife remark again as well about how I'm carrying conversations and things like this. I can definitely relate to you. Like, I feel like, I can relate to you more than I can most guests, even though I relate to them on a lot of levels. So
yeah, that's awesome.
That's very cool. Awesome. It shows that I can be just a few steps away from where you are, where I can, hire my wife full-time to join the company and really take this thing to the next level. So what would you say has been kind of the thing that you didn't expect to have happen when you started this business? Like, what was one of those things where it's like, wow, everybody tries to plan things out. What's something that kind of hit you that was out of the blue?
Gosh, that's such a good question. All of it. I mean, there's so many things that happened along the way that I was just, I think the biggest thing probably is, the first several years, I had very low sales, but I think how much happened within 1 year's time. Like, I went 1 year, we had maybe $100,000 in sales, and it shot up like fivefold the next year. And it was like, that was the realization that it's like, wow, this, if you stick with this really can work. Like, the first few years, you're second guessing yourself, and it's like, am I getting lucky with some of these sales? Like, is this really going to work? But I think the realization after several years in, that once that 1 year hit, I think it was probably 4 or 5 years in, that the more I put into it, the more I'm seeing results. And it just kind of, that 1 year we had this huge leap. And at that point I was like, this is it. Like, I know this can work. I have complete confidence. That, and the other side of it for me is I'll go back to the introverted part. I started going to like trade shows and knife shows, and going up to a table and introducing myself and trying to get inserted into this culture. It was scary. Like, it was very hard. And I think for me, I don't think I really thought that I could build the confidence to do it consistently, but it's one of those things. It's like a muscle. The more you do it, the better you get. And I started to feel a little more comfortable, and it just kind of got better. And I'm no extrovert by any means, but I do feel a little more comfortable talking to people. I did have anxiety getting on this podcast with you, though, so I'm not gonna lie.
No, I understand. Believe me, I still get anxiety a little bit too, getting started, just for the fact that, like I said, I'm introverted. I'm not naturally a person who seeks out conversations, but the podcast kind of forces you to do that. And as soon as it starts going, it's like, okay, yeah, this is good. This was good for me. And so, we started a little bit different than usual. Usually I, go through an intro, kind of tell you everything, but I just felt like just going with it felt right. And so I love that you just kind of jumped into that story. Another question I typically ask, though, is, as you started this business, you talked about some of those challenges, but what would you say was your biggest failure or your biggest misstep? And then what did you learn from it?
Gosh, biggest misstep probably was I started building this site out, and things just kind of started, I guess I regressed because I got comfortable with things the way they were going. And I just started to think that, once I built a little bit of a clientele and things, I started getting sales and business, and, I could just let it roll and no big deal. But I let my foot off the gas, basically. And the biggest thing you can't do really in any business at all, I mean, you have to keep your foot on the gas. And I let my foot off the gas so many times. And every time I did, I felt the results of that 3-4 months later. And it was like, I'd start to look back and go, what's going on? Why are my sales so down? Like, what's up? And then I could pinpoint, you kind of relaxed there, and you got comfortable there. And it's just, those are the biggest things for me. It's like, you have to keep focused. You have to keep at it. I mean, you get out of it what you put in it, and the results speak for themselves. And that's what we've seen over the last year and a half, 2 years. It's just like, you just have to keep going. I mean, so many times, and probably one of the biggest things too, it's like, those first several years, you don't see a lot of movement, and you don't think that it's going to go anywhere. And I think that's where most people give up. They start something in the first couple of years. Well, they don't, everybody wants instant gratification now, especially with social media and the world today. It's like, if you don't get rich in a few months, then that's not it. I'll go on to something else. And it's like, this is a journey, man. It takes years. I mean, I'm 7 years in. It didn't happen overnight. And I think, but if you just realize that if you just take it one day at a time, and those days stack. I mean, they do. They start, all of a sudden one day you get that realization, like we did. Like, it's like all of a sudden, wow, this is, we've had like a really good month, and they start stacking on top of each other, and it builds. So it's yeah. I don't know if that answered your question, but
No.
I'm all over the place, but yeah.
No, that definitely answered it. It's one of those things that people are so short-sighted. They don't see what it could be with that compound effect of building on each other. And, you talked about not laying off the gas. You're obviously brought up a couple examples of, moving to a new storefront and, your wife joining full-time. What else are you doing to keep that foot on the throttle right now?
Yeah, we're diving into a lot of different brands, and we've taken so much action over the last 6-8 months. I mean, this year has been crazy. After leaving my W-2 job in January, it's like everything has been just 100% this direction. I mean, we've known all year she was going to leave her job, and I've written it down every single day in my goals and journal. Every day is for her to leave. 1 was to open a storefront. 2 was for her to leave her job. Made the storefront happen. Her job's next. And it's like, we're just checking things off the list, and it's scary. I'm not gonna lie. It's we got a lot invested, but we have a daughter in college. She has a great job. So we've always had this comfort zone, and we realized that to get to the next level, we just gotta keep going. And that's what we're doing. We're expanding. We're going to hire some people. We're moving into some other brands. Part of the reason for the storefront too is, a lot of brands in the knife world won't work with you if you don't have a brick and mortar. So now we're able to work with them, and we have brands reaching out to us now, which is crazy, but it's just, it's cool. It's fun. It's exciting. It's nerve wracking, but it's going to be good, I think.
Yeah. So now, are those brands, do they want the brick and mortar to show establishment, or is it more of a displaying of the product approach?
Establishment. I think they want to know that you're not just some fly-by-night, store coming in with an online presence only and trying to sell their product. And I'm not gonna lie, some of those brands were like that. Some of the brands we carry now were like that in the beginning with us too. But then after we established ourselves, they were reaching out to us, which felt really good. But some of them don't. So, but yeah, they want to see that you're in this for the long haul, basically, and that you're not just trying to do this as a side hustle, basically. And so yeah. And that's been challenging, but it's been good. It's also helped get us to this point too. Like, we realized that we can carry everyone now. We can sell everything by having a brick and mortar. So, and we have a lot of local people that just, I would have people reach out to me weekly wanting to see product, but when you're based out of your home, that's not the best option. So,
right.
Anyway, so yeah, that's been part of it too, but yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, that is. Now, do you think the industry in general, the knife industry that you deal in, do you think they still have that old school mentality of, online can't be as established as a brick and mortar?
No, a lot of them have come around to online. I mean, look, especially after this year, online is huge. I mean, we usually go to 6 or 8 trade shows a year, and we had one this year. So that was challenging, but no, I think they realized that online is definitely here to stay, but it's, in the knife industry, it's tough. And especially for me with the somewhat SEO background and Google AdWords, we can't advertise on Google. So like I can't have ads, because knives are considered weapons. So they won't let you, promote those on Google and Facebook, Instagram, any of them. So everything you do has to be organic driven. And so that's kind of had to be our focus forever, was just organic reach, with SEO, search engine optimization. So, but having a storefront, I think it expands our reach, because people, in the local area, and we're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we're halfway in between Atlanta and Nashville, 2 huge cities. So people will drive, an hour, 2 hours just to come see you. I've had people reaching out to us. We're not even open yet, but they're reaching out now like, hey, can we come see your stuff? Can we come check it out? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just, we don't have it open yet. I'm sorry. We're trying, but this is probably the worst time to try to open, because it's our busiest 2 months. So with the holidays, but yeah, I mean, it's a good problem to have. I sound like I'm ungrateful. I'm not ungrateful at all, but yeah, it's just been challenging, but yeah, it's, I think it's good. I mean, we're in a great location. So it's good for the industry itself.
Yeah. And you know what, speaking to that, I told the story to somebody I spoke to earlier this week. I flew out to Nashville for work a number of years ago, and I didn't realize how close everything was out there, because, Utah, the closest major city outside of Salt Lake City, you've got Vegas is a 6-hour drive. Denver's 10 hours. Southern California is 10 hours. I mean, nothing's like really that close. And so to have so many things within 4 hours of you is like, wow, this is really nice. I mentioned this story, but I decided that night, I flew in a day early, and I'm like, oh, there's a Cincinnati Reds game only 4 hours away. Why don't I just drive up there and go check out the game and come back? And
yeah. No, this location, man, it really is good. It's we're 4 to 6 hours away from everything you could want. I mean, the beach, we have mountains here, and then you have 2 major cities like Nashville and Atlanta. But it's just a great location. It's also a great location for shipping, because I can ship inventory out, which has been one of the biggest things in our growth this year. Is I read a book called Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh, who unfortunately just passed away in a horrible fire. But that book, and he's the CEO. He was the CEO of Zappos, but that book changed everything for us. Like, because when you're in e-commerce, you're basically up against Amazon, the behemoth in the shipping world, and so people are so used to getting everything in 1 to 2 days. Like, it doesn't matter if they order it on Amazon, they have it within 2 days. And so our biggest thing was trying to get product to customers faster. And so I made it a point that everything that we shipped was going to get to you in 2 days. And it costs a lot of money to do that, but it also brought us so many customers. And all I wanted to do is to get one customer, just build one customer at a time. And if I could get you in the door and you could see the customer service that we have and that we provide, then you would tell one person. If you tell one person, they'll tell somebody, and word spreads quick. And it has worked for us. Like, we've spent a lot on shipping this year, but that book changed everything for me, because it was like, that's his mindset was, if we can focus on shipping and getting it to you fast, we'll treat it like advertising. And that's what it's been. So it's almost been like advertising dollars for us. And it's paid off. We've had our customer base has grown like threefold this year. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And something that, I'm dealing with personally right now is shipping issues and things taking longer to get to places right now.
If I pulled up my email right now and let you read it, it's It's headache after headache, like so much issue with shipping. COVID changed everything this year. And then on top of that, it's holiday season. So it's like, the post office is so overrun with shipping right now. They're not equipped to handle it. I mean, there's massive delays everywhere. So it's a struggle. I feel you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I had an aside, but I had a product that I ordered from a local company. They're 45 minutes south of here. And it's now been like a week and a half and it still hasn't shown up. And still, it's one of those things.
Yeah, it may show up in a couple of weeks. It most likely will show up. It just may be a few weeks. It's crazy.
Growing pains for the postal service.
Absolutely. No, I would just say, the biggest thing is that, anyone can do this. Like, I'm there is nobody more introverted than me that grew up more shy than me, just, and afraid to take chances, had no confidence, no identity, no self-esteem. It's like, your mind is powerful. You can change it. It's malleable. You can change it. Like it's not this set thing that, oh, well, I'm this way, I can't do that. You can do anything. If I can do this, anybody can do anything. It just takes getting rid of the negative thoughts, put one foot in front of the other, and just taking massive action. I mean, if you just take massive action and go after what you want, and when it's getting too difficult and you think that it's not working out, that's when you need to keep going, because you're on almost to the other side. Like, you just have to keep grinding. And the more you go after it, you're going to see results. You just have to stick with it. And it's just never giving up. It's grit. I read this book, Grit, and you just have to stick with it. You got to stick with it.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. You mentioned one thing that I think resonates with a lot of people is removing those negative thoughts, because you have those thoughts of, oh, what if this fails? Or, what if this isn't going to work out? What happens if it fails and I have to go back to a regular job? All these different ideas. Do you have any tactics or strategies for removing those negative thoughts?
For me, I started doing a lot of different things this year, but I started meditating. I meditate in the morning. Habits and routines, I think, are crucial. So when I wake up, I step out of bed, I drop to one knee, and I pray every day. That, I'm spiritual, so I pray every day. I go through a gratitude list. I do hard things. I take cold showers. I think you have to challenge yourself. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. It builds confidence. It's how you feel about yourself when you're by yourself. And it's like, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. And I think the more hard things you do, the more obstacles you're going to feel like you can overcome. And it just builds confidence. And that's been the game changer for me this year. It's like, I don't have any fear. I mean, there's obviously nervousness and anxiety a little bit because of what we're doing, but like, I know that we're not going to stop till we accomplish our goals. So it's like, there's no quit. We're going to keep going. And those negative thoughts are always going to creep up. I mean, you're always going to have that. It's just part of life. But you just have to basically try to get out of that mind frame. Go work out, go exercise, go get your heart rate up, go change your state, and it'll give you the confidence to just keep going. And you just have to keep persevering and try to squash the negative the automatic negative thoughts. I think they're called ants. So gotta get out of the mindset. But meditation has been huge for me this year. It was tough at first. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just started doing this every day, and it's amazing what it'll do for you. But that's been a game changer for sure.
Very cool. So speaking of meditation, is that something, I know that a lot of people that helps them get centered and, remove themselves from the situation. One thing I've been asking though lately is, where is it that you do your best thinking? Do you think that helps you become more creative doing the meditation throughout the day to help pivot your business in the right direction?
Yeah, for me, it just kind of calms me and gets me in this state of just relaxation where I can just start brainstorming. And it's kind of weird. I kind of thought it was hokey at first, to be honest with you, but the more you do it, it's like you just get in this grateful mode where you just start hashing out all your problems. And I just started to do that every day. And it's like, it's just a calming thing. I don't know. If I don't start off my day with that, it's like I feel like I'm all over the place. But when I start my day off with some meditation, I feel like I'm laser focused all day long. Like I go after everything, and it's nothing distracts me like it does if I don't do it. So it's been crazy. I would have said no way that it would have worked before, but it works without question.
So Clay, I want to be respectful of your time. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to me. So I've got one more question for you, but before I get into that, I want to give you a chance to plug where people can best find more information about you.
Yeah, I'm most active on Instagram. It's at Clayton Ensminger. And our business page is at E_Knives. We're on there all the time. And I'm on Facebook too. It's Clayton Ensminger. But Instagram is where I'm on the most. That's where I'm the most active. So, and it's Clayton, and then it's Ensminger.
Perfect. I'll make sure to include the links in the show description so people can just click on that. For the final question, I want to ask you, personal or business, what is it that excites you about the future?
Oh gosh, what we can do to expand this business. I just grateful for where we've gotten so far, but like I've mentioned, my wife is going to join me full time in this journey, and being able to take this company from $0 and take it to unlimited heights is just it's exciting. And there's so much work to be done, but the journey is I think the biggest part of it. You know, we're enjoying the journey now, and going to enjoy the journey from here on out, and being able to do what we love and something that we created, you know, from the ground up. I think it's very rewarding. Has its ups and downs, but we're excited, and we can't wait to see where we can take it.
Perfect. Yeah, that's very exciting. And you know what, to see your growth and see all the exciting things happening for you, I'm excited for you as well. So
awesome. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this too, man. This was great. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. And, you know I've gotten a ton of value out of this, so I know my audience has gotten value out of this. So I encourage you all to get out there and hustle the day.
Hey, thanks for listening all the way through. Sincerely appreciate it. But hey, since you're here on YouTube, I have a favor to ask. If you got any value out of this podcast, and I know you did, go ahead, hit the subscribe, the like, and the bell notification buttons. That sincerely helps us out, and I truly appreciate anybody who does that.